So today's video is a comparison of the Apple Watch Series 6 versus the Apple Watch SE. Now, if you are in the market for either one of these two watches, I'm truly hoping that this video is going to help your purchasing decision. Of course, these are the newest watches from Apple. Let's go ahead and jump in. Right away, let's go ahead and talk about the biggest difference here, the price. Now, there is somewhat of a sizable price difference with the Apple Watch SE, costing about $280 versus the Series 6 at about $400. And of course, in this case, I'm talking specifically about the entry-level models. And that price difference right there is one of the biggest things that people are actually really paying attention to, wondering why should they shed $400 for the Series 6 versus $280 for just picking up the regular watch, the regular SE. And there is really grounds for asking that question, which is of course going to lead us to cover some of the differences and also similarities in terms of size and specs and all that good stuff. By the way, before I forget, if this is your first time to the channel here, please do me a huge favor by hitting both the like and the subscribe button there. I truly appreciate it. It's a huge boost to the channel, and that actually helps me put out more content like this one. All right, so let's go ahead and talk design. We're going to talk the face of the watches. These two look exactly alike. They share the same physical features, anywhere from the way that front face look like to the side controls here. So both have a power button, as you can see here on the side, and also the menu button, which can be also used to scroll through things. As far as the sizes go, in this particular case, the Series 6 that I'm showing here is the slightly large model because this is a 44mm versus the SE, which is a 40mm here. But you could definitely get those case size options on either one of those watches. In fact, you can actually use the same accessories and they are interchangeable without any issues. Now, I haven't been an Apple Watch wearer for a long time, but from my understanding, you can actually still interchange the accessories for the old Apple Watches with the new ones without any problems also. They'll still work fine with no issues. Now, this all leads us down to where we can start finding some of the main differences. And that will be in the internal specs for these two. But I'm not going to lie to you, even though there are some differences with internal specs, they are almost just as similar as they are with the external stuff. And the easiest way to check this out and see the main differences is actually to go to the source, right? The Apple website. So to get all the legit information, we could just go directly there and be able to compare these two watches. Now, you get to see when comparing these two as I scroll down through these that they are pretty similar in so many ways internally. But first, here's one difference we can note right here, and that is the always on display, which is available on the Series 6 but not available on the SE. On the SE, you would need to raise your hand in order for the watch to come on, or you would have to hit one of the buttons. On the Series 6, you actually have the option to either do that or also keep the screen just on at all time. But in either case, I personally prefer to have it so that it only comes on when I look down or when I raise my arm. Anyway, so both watches have the same water resistance at 50 meters deep. Some more differences that are kind of major here would be the blood oxygen app and the EKG app. Those two are not available on the SE, but they are on the Series 6. Then from there on, you get a ton of things that are either the same or super close to being the same. The unusual heart rate notification system, the SOS option, fall detection, compass, GPS, and all of that good stuff, you get that on both watches. Some more differences is the fact that you get different types of casing and different colors depending on which one you go for, and one of them, which is of course the Series 6, has a lot more colors available. And added to that, it also has the stainless steel and the titanium models for the casing available for it if you want to go for that. But the price actually just skyrockets once you go ahead and move up or upgrade to those models. The SE, on the other hand, just has 3 colors with aluminum casing, and that's the only choice. You also have the Series 6 running a dual-core S6 chip and a 3rd-gen heart rate sensor versus the SE running a 2nd-gen sensor and a dual-core S5 chip. Which, don't get me wrong, the S6 is definitely faster than the S5, but in real life or real time or true user experience, you won't really notice the difference. Unless, of course, you have them side by side, you might notice that fraction of a second difference there. Now, I don't need to keep going with this list for you to kind of get the idea of what we are doing here. Now, there certainly are some small technical differences between the two, but the reality is that for many people, those tiny differences might not be worth the extra $120 just so that they can move up to the S6. So I suspect many people are going to be going for the SE. On the other hand, there are people there who will be willing to pay $120 to go for the Series 6 because it may have some of the options that, well, I mean, you don't typically find too many people who use a lot of the blood oxygen and all that good stuff, but some people may want to pay that extra money just to get that all in a uniform body in their watch, rather than to go out there and actually buy an extra device to provide them with that data. But in summary, with all of that being said, my take is that the Apple Watch SE is the one to go for as opposed to the Series 6. The little differences, as I mentioned, for the Series 6 won't make much of a difference for the majority of people, I personally think. Now, don't quote me on that, but I personally think that people will skip it. And of course, with that being said, let's say if you just want like a titanium or a stainless steel and all that good stuff, those options are only available on the Series 6. So you may still have a ton of people going for the Series 6, not necessarily because it has better specs, but more because it has more of that superficial extra options for them and they have the money to pay for it. Now, there's a ton more to cover on these two watches, but I figure I'll just go ahead and share some of the main points that I thought were important to cover between these two watches, and I'm hoping that it actually helped your purchasing decision. Please don't forget, of course, to like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to catch you in the comment section like I always do, and I'm also going to catch you in the next video, and up until then, stay safe out there.